I don't know who Cam Jordan is. I just don't. So let's see what his net worth is. That's the only way you can kind of really tell what $1 million means to the guy. 67 million bucks. Literally 1.49% of his actual net worth. So let's get started.
What's up, GQ Sports? This is Cam Jordan, New Orleans Saints defensive end, and this is
New Orleans defense. Okay, good to know what he does.
how I spent my first $1 million. My relationship with money is I live broke. And at one
Okay, there you go. That's a good hint right away. It kind of gives us some sort of insight. So he didn't have the best relationship with money going into his first $1 million. Because of that, I'm guessing he kind of blew it all.
one point in my childhood, my parents gave me a checkbook and made me keep all my earnings going to high school, but I'm over there
That's what's needed to build a good relationship with money.
shopping at, TJ Maxx, Ross, Dillard's. It was the Foot Locker 5 for 20s. Man, my first job was when I got to college. I was a peer advisor. Gave out the opening statements to the athletes coming in front of their parents about this is what to expect as a freshman. This is what we're going to do. And I did that for
I think that's a great job while in college.
a couple years. Before that, it was just volunteer work. Then I was a bouncer.
Look at these beautiful muscles. I'd be a good bouncer one time.
I mean, when you start off in college making 17 an hour, and then somewhere after the first year, you're making 25.
Adjusted for inflation, I'm pretty sure that's more than what most people in college make right now.
26 an hour. I was low-key balling. I truly didn't think I was making it.
Even 26 bucks an hour. That's more than a lot of people I know who graduated with a degree from university are making at their first job out of uni. That's great. Especially when you just come out of uni, you don't have those many responsibilities, you don't have those many bills. You're not even expected to have much. So why live like you have a lot?
Senior year, I was there just to play football. I was like, God is good, keep me blessed, keep me healthy, and one day get me wealthy.
That's a great way to approach it.
Got that signing bonus. I remember sitting at the locker room and I was like, I'm rich.
If he said he didn't have a great relationship with money coming in, it could be $100,000 and he could be like, oh, I'm rich. Because that's a lot from going from 0 to 100,000. That's quite substantial.
We sat there and darn near cried. I think it was the happiest moment of my life and the saddest, most pitiful moment of my life. Cause they robbed me. But these are the details to the first rookie deal.
4-year, $7.73 million contract, $6.3 million guaranteed, and a signing bonus of $4.12 million. So I'm guessing the signing bonus wasn't part of that contract itself, but $6.3 million guaranteed. So you've got $10 million. $10 million is a ton of money. $10 million is hey, if you get injured, it's not the end of the world. So long as you're smart about the money, you're smart with the money, you'll be fine. You can retire. And let's not forget about the good old Uncle Sam, Mr. Tax. The tax man.
I'm looking at houses yeah, I'm gonna buy $1 million house. Oh, I'm gonna buy, a vet. I'm gonna buy a BMW. I was like, I'm gonna go crazy, hit an I-8. They ain't never gonna see what happens. But I was like, what if I don't play another down after this? I was like, what if this is the only contract that I get?
Smart man. See, that's how you should think. It's an insane amount of money at a young age to earn. And especially when there's such a large lump sum, $4 million lump sum, $2 million after fees and taxes, I would assume. That's still a lot of money.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta make this last forever. My rookie year,
You're supposed to make it last forever.
I was like, don't blow it, Cam. You look at
Love that.
these telltales of sports athletes or guys who were rich and went broke, and you can always see it was the multiple houses, it was multiple cars, it was loaning money out to family.
That's so true. What people don't realize about having a large house is the larger your house is, the larger your expenditure to maintain the house, larger your property tax bill, utility bill, maintenance, cleanup.
Family members and never getting that loan back. That's not a loan, that's giving. Don't ask for a loan if you don't mean it. So I implemented
Very true, very true. A lot of people are gonna come for some money.
I want some money from you. I want more money.
2-strike rule with all my friends. If you need me, I'm there for you the first time. But at the end of that 2 strikes, we're probably no longer that tight anymore. So it allows you
Great rule to have.
to wean out some people. I got that second deal and I had the same mentality. I was like, the first deal I live on. The second deal was like, this is my life money. Like, hey, after this is a great career. This is what I have to live on. This is how I have to get my kids to college. And I don't even think I had kids at the time. I was like, but this is generational money. And these are the details of the contract extension.
I'm excited for the contract extension because if Google is right, and come on, Google's always right. If it's a $67 million extension, 50 something million buck contract, let's see what his extension sign-on bonus was. 3-year, $50 million contract? Wow. $15.5 million signing bonus, $42 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $17.5 million bucks. Great for Cam Jordan. That's crazy. He has a great attitude for how to spend his money, which is one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't have. He's thinking rationally, hey, this is generational wealth. This is the money I'll set aside, I'll invest, and the initial contract is measly $10 million bucks. Oh, I'll live off the $10 million bucks for the rest of my life and invest the other $50 million. Hey, that's the way you should actually think about it and go about it.
Now we talked about how I made and saved my money. Now I guess we're gonna talk about how I spent some of these chickens.
No matter how he spends his $1 million bucks, if that's 1 million of the 10 million he's gonna live on for the rest of his life, let's see. But he said he's invested the other 50 million bucks, which is great. And keep in mind, this is 50 million US dollars, not 50 million Canadian rubles. This is the one people waste money on. I just don't like jewelry. That's just me. Not a fan of jewelry.
All right, if I remember correctly, the first thing I bought, it was a Breitling Super Avenger, and it was like 2,800 bucks. And I was like, bro, I'm balling.
That's not too bad. 2,800 bucks for a watch that probably maintained its value. Watch it get really bad.
And then at the time, Black Ice was in. I had a fully bust down black diamond, another Super Avenger. I think it was like 12. So we're at 15 right there. But then I needed a necklace to go with it.
Still not the end of the world if you keep in mind his actual earnings.
I had the meteorites dripping off the neck. You know, I had the big black diamond pieces, probably 70 pointers. I probably had like half carats on each one. I think it was like 10, so that's 25 right there. But then
I'm sure the scrap value of whatever he bought was at least half of what he paid. So he can recoup some of that money, worst case scenario.
I saw myself spend that kind of money and I was like, what am I doing? And I ended up losing my Super Avenger. And that was back before I knew like you needed jewelry insurance for this thing. You don't have the insurance, you don't get nothing back. It is what it is. So I spent 25 bands on jewelry.
Pretty good. So far, so good.
I'm a millionaire, so I thought, until the government came through. So
Hey, see, that's what I'm saying. You gotta keep in mind, when you reach that tax bracket, half of it, depending where you are, even more than that. IRS, CRA, they need their share. And trust me, they won't get their share.
So I had that. And I rocked the hell out of them watches. If it was time to go out, you might see both of them. I might have been the first one to double up because I thought I was doing the most.
Another place a lot of people mess up.
The next move was I had a car from college. I had a 2007 Dodge Charger that I got from my parents for getting, a scholarship to the University of California, Berkeley. And I thought I was going to just use that for the rest of my life. My whip, that was my baby. But my sister crashed her car over a Boise or something like that. So I gave her my whip and bought a whip. I was like, man.
Let's see what he ends up buying. I'm gonna guess he probably splurged low 6 figures.
Man, I'm gonna get an Audi, I'm gonna get a BMW. I started seeing Audi, BMW, Mercedes prices. I was like, you know what? I'm in New Orleans. The streets got potholes. Like, it's a little rough down here when you're driving through. It's not a smooth ride. I justified it. I don't need that right now. Plus, I haven't earned shit in the league. Like, I haven't done anything in the league.
That's great. That's so good. That's the way you should think. That's amazing.
For me to just be whipping up in a $100,000 car. So I was like, let me humble myself. I got a Chevy Tahoe, a little floor model, so I got a nice little discount on her. I think she was like 39 cash, and I showed up like...
That's great. That's great. Perfect.
Showed up like 50 Cent and get rich or die trying. I showed up with a 40 band trap on me. You know, I was like, yeah, you can count the change. Like, so they're like, we don't normally do that. I said, bro, I brought cash. Like, this is my first car I'm buying. I brought cash. Had to call like 2.
See, that's the other thing. It's not the best idea, especially when you have such large purchases or you're making such large purchases. Why cash? Why? I don't get it. Ordering $40,000 cash in the first place is a headache on its own. Trying to find a dealership that'll accept that much in cash is another headache.
Bought the car. That's what it sounded like too. I was like, are you ready for this?
I gotta say, I love this guy. A huge fan. I don't know anything about NFL. Don't know anything about the team he plays on. But this is my favorite NFL player right now, just because he's being smart with his money. Nothing more than that.
I was really living my best life at 21. I was like, yeah, I'm like that.
Vegas.
Then I went to Vegas. And I was like, bro, I've been going to Vegas since I was like 18. We used to drive down from Cal, went to Vegas a couple times, you know. I had to do it proper, you know, I want to show my boys love, you know, it is what it is. We got rooms comped, whatever it is, but we out in the nightlife, it's us. Table on deck, you catch that first bill for the table, they're like, oh yeah, you know, Patron like 400, you know, Ciroc like 400. Probably ordered a bottle of Ace of Spades. Back then it was probably what, like a band, 1,200, 1,500. But all in all, that first Vegas trip was probably 10 racks. I was like, all right, I gotta get to a sense of calm.
Wow. That's pretty much a quarter of what he spent on his car. That's crazy.
Like, what am I doing? My mom was like, oh, I want a new car. And at that same weekend, I was like, I got it. Like, if I can spend 10 on the boys, I got it. It was like 15 Vegas, 15, 20 with mom.
Okay, giving your mom money, 20 grand to spend what she wants, that's fine. That's fair. I guess you also gotta treat yourself, so $10,000, it's not the end of the world.
My next highest expense was finding an apartment, a condo, you know, for the year. I stayed in there for what, 5 years? You figure 2 grand, 60 months, 120 bands right there just off of living in New Orleans alone off the first contract. Just living expenses. I didn't even eat or nothing. Like, wasn't even going on dates yet. Man. Like, that's big stacks. Living expenses.
That's pretty pricey, especially if you're renting. Because if you think about it, New Orleans, I doubt there's a lot of very, very expensive houses. I'm sure the mean house price is under $500,000. 100 grand, that's a 20% down payment.
Which leads me to food for all the D linemen would be my most expense, like my most powerful expense. Like, they were taxing me at every turn. It was, like I said, it was breakfast on Mondays, and it was 13 or 14 guys. 10 of them were vets. We're getting breakfast for all of them, and they wanted this place in New Orleans. It was used to be famous for breakfast for us. It was Mano's Po' Boys. Double hash browns, double sausage, bacon.
Watch him spend more on these breakfasts than he did on his jewelry.
And egg croissant witches or whatever they were, the big greasy fat boys. I was like, bro, this is not how athletes are supposed to eat. But we ate them things religiously every Monday. Then it was the 10 dozen of donuts for the locker room. Rookie dinner alone. Them guys was out there eating filet mignon, steak, lobster, and taking something to go. They were drinking Dom Perignon. They were, you know, Ace of Spades, whatever it was always expensive. I didn't even know wine could cost more than 40 bucks at the time. They were ordering $200 and $300 and $400 bottles of wine. You know, like Halo, 500. I'm clearly tagged because 10 years later I'm still talking about it. I'm like, bro, like they were tagging me at every turn. It was Opus 1. I ended up paying like 23 bands that night. So
that's already as much as his jewelry.
All in all, food gifts for my rookie year hit me for about a 50 piece. Sheesh.
Wow, that's crazy. But I'm sure there's it's probably part of the culture where the rookies pay for some stuff and they do it on and on and on. I'm sure that's just one of those experiences. 50 grand, not the end of the world, but still a lot of money. It's 1% of your initial contract. I would just kind of count that as one of those initiation sort of fees. Is what it is, right? This is the one I love. Let's see what he did. Let's see what he bought.
Second or third year in the league, I bought a house in Arizona. And
Okay, so that also gives us some insights. He's saying second to third year.
So that's great.
Because we know he kind of didn't just splurge his first $1 million, a fifth of his lifetime earnings right away. So this is 2-3 years in. He's still got plenty of cash not spent. Let's see.
I was like, I need my own spot. I got to do this. And I think it cost me like $530.
See, there you go. That initial rent he paid, the $120,000, whatever he ended up buying, whether it was a condo or detached single family house, $530, that's a 20% down payment.
And I paid for it cash. I felt like I was the king of that thing. I was like, and that's why I'm the king. Paying all this cash. It's in the same neighborhood I grew up in. My mom and grandma live in one house. My dad lives next door. 11 houses down from my dad is my house on the opposite side of the road. Then like another 15 houses down is my sister and her husband. And then 2 houses down from them is my brother and his wife. We're all in the same community, bro. I have a golf cart. I whip that thing.
I'm a fan of that. I'm a big fan. Love that. And though I'm not a big fan of paying cash for your house, it's better than it being spent on dinners and jewelry and whatnot.
What's a starter pack? What's a starter pack?
I got an athlete, I made it starter pack is what I call it. It's a Rolex, it's like a small chain and a big chain. 14 karat gold out there, big Cuban links. I had to get a gold bracelet to go with it too. I spent like 30 on the chain, 30 on the watch, another 5 on a smaller chain, 7 bag.
Hey, that's not a bad thing to treat yourself. He's being very, very smart with his money.
I bought a 5711 Paddock, silver, blue face. That was like a 30 piece. And then I bought a 5980, and that thing was like 50 change. And then the rest I gave to the fam. So that was easy 90 out the door. And now both them Paddocks is worth, triple?
Yeah, definitely. These prices just tripled, doubled. It's crazy.
If I take out the house, it probably spent me like 8 years to spend $1 million. I had the house, it probably took me like 4.
That's amazing, especially when he made that much money. It took him 4 years to spend $1 million, and half of that is what? An investment in a real estate property? Especially given his income. This is great. This is a perfect financial role model for athletes who sign major contracts and are not sure who to look up to.
If you need a buffer, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's what your financial advisor and your agent is for. You need people who can say no and be the bad guy. Sometimes if you're not willing to be the villain, get your financial advisor to say no and get yourself a no person, because you're gonna have plenty of yes people in your life.
That's true. Hire someone to be the bad guy. Overall, I think Cam Jordan did an amazing job. I think the main thing was he kind of mitigated any major financial mistake. He was smart about his money. He didn't spend it all at once. He allocated, I think half the $1 million was an investment in real estate, let's be fair. And he said, that took him 4 years to spend, including that house, and 8 years excluding that house to spend $1 million. That's amazing. That also shows that he didn't live beyond his means once he signed his contract extension for the $50 million. He stuck to his word, and he honored his financial game plan, right? He honored that in terms of him sticking to living off his initial contract and that $50 million extension, using it as a generational wealth tool. Cam Jordan, my new favorite athlete in the world, my new favorite NFL player, whatever team he plays for is my new favorite team, just because of how great he was at spending his money. Hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know, what should I keep his voice as?